The phone didn't actually ring, that I'm sure of. I carelessly picked up my phone and scanned the notifications. Like all other normal human beings in North America, I check my cell every 15 minutes for that sweet dopamine rush that comes with the notification of a new text or Snapchat message. I was pretty surprised when I saw that I had a missed call from 20 minutes ago. After all, my phone had been sitting in front of me on the table the whole time, and it usually emits an obnoxiously loud notification ping anytime anything happens. The thought that I missed my ringtone of Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, ironic, I know, was surprising. I checked the notification, assuming it was most likely spam, and was surprised to see that the call came from my local area code and that it even had a real-life name attached to it. Usually, when I get a scam call telling me that Interpol has me on a watch list and that they'll lock me up forever unless I pay $233 via a very shady e-transfer, it's from a private caller. This time there was a name, Diane Vale. It was still most likely a spam call, but I had been recently playing some modest gigs, opening for up-and-coming artists with my band, and I'd made sure to hand out my music business card, don't judge me, like candy. At this point, I figured it wouldn't hurt to call back, with this small, exciting, but irrational what-if thought in the back of my mind. And so, I did. After a few rings, I heard someone answer the phone. "Hello?" asked the voice on the other end, sounding almost concerned, curious. "Is that an old lady?" "Hi," I said weakly. "I'm calling because I think I have a missed call from this number from 20-ish minutes ago." "Oh, is that right? Wow," she started, her voice weathered and hoarse. "Yep, definitely an old lady. I'm so sorry. I must have misdialed, doll." "I forgive you," I thought to myself. Cell phones are a lot, even for me sometimes. As much as I wanted to take this opportunity to ask this woman what her experience with TikTok was, just to see if the question would melt her brain, I figured it was good to end the call here. No worries at all. I hope you have a great day." "Why, thank you, dear," she said, and before I could press that bright red icon with the retro phone handle to sever all ties with this woman for the rest of my life, she quickly squeaked and right after, "I was trying to reach my husband." Yes, that's what it was. He must have a similar number to you. "Oh, right, yeah. I imagined you were probably just off by a digit or two." "Happens all the time," I said, still ready to hang up immediately. "Yes, that's what it was. I was trying to reach my husband, but I called you instead, which means I wasn't able to reach my husband." "That's right. You wonderful, sweet old lady. I think therefore I am. You called me, therefore you didn't call your husband. Logic. I will try him again now. Thank you for being so sweet and tender about this," she continued. "Again, no worries at all," I said, hanging up right after to avoid her throwing more mind-blowing revelations my way. Like, if I was on the phone with her, that means I wasn't on the phone with someone else right now. Whoa. Despite my snark at the time, I thought the whole exchange was actually a bit sweet. That was the prevailing thought anyways, when I saw her name show up on my caller ID a week later to the sweet tunes of Natalie Imbruglia, Screw You, the song's a banger. I decided to answer. "Hello," I said. Diane took a while to respond this time. She almost seemed surprised when she did. "Wait, you're not Martin?" "Nope, I think this must be a wrong number." The revelation approached Diane at a glacial pace. Eventually, it clicked for her, and she answered with certainty. You must be the same woman I called last time. Your voice sounds so clear." "Yep, it's me again." "Well, my goodness. You must be fuming that I accidentally reached out to you again." "Not at all, ma'am. You're all good. Best of luck reaching your husband." "Oh, well, it's not my husband this time. Actually, it's my brother I'm trying to call." "Gotcha. Well, best of luck. I gotta run." I hung up the call just as she was mid-sentence through her response. I felt rude doing it, but at the same time, you have to nip things like this in the bud immediately before they drag out. If someone on a cold call or on the street asks you for 20 seconds of your time, be stern. Say no and move on. It's the foot in the door technique, and I had to quash it before she felt empowered to share a series of boring stories with me. It wasn't until nighttime that same day that I realized it was pretty weird that she contacted me on another misdialed call. this time after trying to reach her brother. Did her husband, her brother, and I all have very similar phone numbers or something? I pushed the thought aside and moved on, and after 2 weeks of no misses, I'd assumed that she'd moved on too. It turns out that the third time was the charm, actually, and this time Diane's reappearance was only frustrating and nothing else. I heard the tail end of my ringtone playing at what must have been 2 a.m. in the morning. I got up just as my phone stopped ringing and checked who the call had come from. Diane again. Except this time, it wasn't just this one missed call. It was 20. She'd been trying me for over an hour, and I just slept through all of it, apparently. I blocked her number and went back to bed. In the morning, I'd noticed that she'd also sent some voicemails. Out of morbid, annoyed curiosity, I decided to give them a listen. I expected to hear a mundane series of messages about her day, an incident at the bank, a complaint that oranges at the supermarket cost 20 cents more than usual, or her frustration that her husband and brothers still weren't answering her calls. Instead, as I listened, every voicemail was the same. Breathing. Just her breathing. One voicemail after another. Continuous. Running for minutes each time before cutting out to the next message. Occasionally, it felt as if her breathing would rupture, like she was just about to start crying, but she never did. What in the ever-loving, I wasn't sure if I should have been creeped out or if I should have felt really bad. Regardless, I was able to rationalize all of this again. She clearly was just terrible with technology, and the line, "Leave your message after the beep," meant nothing to her. Never mind the fact that answering machines had been a thing for a really long time before the advent of voicemail, so she really must have been living under a rock to have missed all of that. I decided to run with my half-baked explanation for the purposes of buttoning all of this up in my head as quickly as possible. Thanks to me blocking her number, the next couple of months were business as usual. All was normal in my world. Yes, I would still get a strange sinking feeling in my stomach every time I thought about Diane's series of late-night calls. But overall, the hustle and bustle of everyday life allowed me to put the incident behind me. Then, on a not-so-special day at a not-so-special time, my phone started ringing. I instinctively went to pick it up as I was actually awaiting a call from one of my friends at that moment. I almost had an aneurysm when I saw the name Diane Vale on the caller ID. My curiosity about how she'd overridden me blocking her number was quickly quashed when I realized that her number looked way different this time. It definitely wasn't from my local area code. She changed numbers to reach me. I answered the phone. "I don't know what the was wrong with you, but stop calling me. I'm completely alone," she interrupted. Her interjection stumped me momentarily. "I'm alone," she continued. "I heard you. My husband, my brother, my family and friends, they've all passed. I have no one. I'm completely isolated. Look, I'm sorry to hear that really, but that's no excuse. I just need someone to talk to. Please, just one meaningful conversation, and then you won't need to hear from me anymore." "God damn it, okay," I replied. As weird as this whole ordeal was, seriously, calling a stranger because you're lonely under the pretense that it was just a wrong number? If getting her to talk about the heartache that comes with growing old alone and losing everyone you love was enough to put her at ease, then I could probably burn 10 minutes for it. Secretly, I was more frustrated at the potential kids, grandkids, or extended family that this woman may have had who'd left her all alone with no emotional or social support. "Sometimes it feels like I've always been alone," she started. "And yet I have memories of a time when life was full. There was joy and purpose, and I could wake up every day knowing that I'd have someone to talk to or share a meal with." "Yeah, life's full of ups and downs," I said, not sure what to add. That feeling of being needed, of being important, fades so quickly. You don't realize you miss it until it's too late. Well, there are always new opportunities to create connections. Sometimes life takes those away, but you can also find new ones. What if there aren't any more opportunities? What if all that's left is emptiness? I don't believe that. You can find people, communities. It's never too late. Are you sure about that? Are you sure I'm not just wasting away? Everyone has value. Even if it feels like there's nothing left, you can still find something meaningful. You're kind to say that, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm alone. "You're not alone now," I said, trying to offer some comfort. "But will I be again?" There was a pause, and I realized I didn't have an answer for her. "Thank you," she said after a long silence. "I think I needed to hear that, even if I don't fully believe it." "No problem. I hope you find what you're looking for." "Goodbye," she said softly, and the line went dead. I sat there for a few moments, processing the conversation. I felt a strange mix of sadness and relief. Sadness for the loneliness that seemed to consume her, and relief that the conversation had ended. I hoped, selfishly, that it would be the last time I heard from her, and for a while it was. But then the calls started coming again, this time from different numbers, always with different area codes. The pattern was the same. She would call late at night, and if I didn't answer, she'd leave voicemails of just breathing. I blocked each new number, but she always seemed to find a way around it. The voicemails became more frequent and more unsettling. The breathing grew more erratic, more desperate. Sometimes I could hear her whispering, but the words were always too faint to make out. I stopped listening to them after a while, but they kept coming, piling up in my inbox like a growing weight on my chest. I started to dread the sound of my phone ringing, the sight of a new voicemail notification. It felt like she was haunting me, a ghost of loneliness that I couldn't shake. One night, after yet another string of missed calls and voicemails, I finally broke down. I called her back, not caring what time it was. "Diane, you have to stop this," I said as soon as she answered. "You can't keep calling me like this. It's not healthy for either of us." There was a long pause on the other end of the line, and for a moment, I thought she had hung up. But then I heard her voice, softer than ever before. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to be alone." "I get that, but this isn't the way to deal with it. You need to find someone who can really help you, someone who can be there for you in person." "I tried," she said, her voice trembling, "but they all left me. Everyone leaves me." "I'm not the one who can fix this for you," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You need to talk to someone, a professional, who can really help." "I'm sorry," she said again, and this time I could hear the tears in her voice. "I'm so sorry." "I'm sorry too, Diane," I said, my own voice breaking, "but I can't keep doing this. I need to move on." There was a long silence, and then she hung up. The call stopped after that. For a while, I would check my phone compulsively, expecting to see her name pop up again, but it never did. The voicemails stopped too, and eventually, I deleted all the old ones without listening to them. I never heard from Diane again. I like to think that she found someone who could really help her, someone who could give her the support she needed. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm lying in bed and the house is quiet, I still hear her voice in my head, whispering those final words. "I'm so sorry."